Alright, for people who have been watching this for the fasting stuff, I guess this is going to be a little different. I'm kind of talking to two different audiences here, but I'm just going to talk poker and not worry about it. And if you're wondering why I'm not looking at the camera, I am driving. So I actually have an excuse to not look at the camera this time and look away and all that stuff, because I'm focusing on staying alive and being safe and all that good stuff. So most people know Texas Hold'em, where you get 2 cards. This is really my best format, these Omaha tournaments. It's both of the big tournaments I've won have been in either Omaha or Omaha High-Low. Just not, there aren't a ton of them out there. The World Series is really like the best chance to like get to play like actual competitive big tournaments like this. So there isn't a ton of information out there. Not even a lot of people who are like top level professionals don't play this stuff very well, in my super humble opinion. I think, so some tips that I would give, what I think has made me successful in these type of tournaments. The biggest tip I could give is equity denial. If you're playing cash games, and especially in high-low, so often people are going to be going for half of the pot with, anything. They'll just call and they can just rebuy. But in tournaments, you can really put pressure on people because you only get this one shot, or, your re-entries, but still you only get your stack. And then you bust out, you got to go wait in the re-entry line. It's just not a good thing. So you can use that to your advantage. People are going to fold a lot more, basically, is what it comes down to. So being selective with your pre-flop hands and getting into good spots, playing really tight. A lot of people kind of just splash around too much, and then once you do get in there, putting a lot of pressure on people, getting them to fold half of the pot or getting them to fold their hand when they're likely going to win half of the pot. You get to win a bunch of the pot is really what you're going to be looking for. Playing tight in early position. If there's like a spot that's like super marginal and I'm in like early position, I'll just fold it. It's really not worth it to like get involved in this game with a bunch of different people. Yeah, so there's going to be limit, Omaha High-Low, and then there's going to be 4-card pot limit, Omaha 8 or better, and 5-card pot limit 8 or better. So it's going to be like, I think, 8 hands of each, and it's just kind of going to keep rotating. And yeah, I think the biggest challenge for me in these type of things is finding that balance of emotional control. It's like, on the one hand, it's like, this is what I fucking live for, like I fucking love these things. And on the other hand, can't get too high and too low. So I like want to like soak it in, enjoy myself, but then I also like, it's about staying focused, like paying attention to the players at your table, keeping track of the pot. That's one thing that's different to like online, is online you can just see what everybody has, see their chip stacks, see how much you want to bet. Here, keep track of it all. So this is where me being a poker dealer will definitely come in handy. I'm used to like keeping track of the pot and all that stuff. Yeah, overall, I just feel locked in. I feel good. I feel excited and blessed to have this opportunity. When I started making these videos, like I wasn't even going to play any poker. Like for a while, it was looking like my life was going on a whole different trajectory of just not doing anything for this year, and somehow I've ended up here. So I'll try and get some shots of the World Series when I get there. And it's going to be at Bally's, by the way. This is the first year it's not at the Rio, it's at Bally's. And yeah, that's a little pregame talk. See you when I get there. Fuck you, Rio. Fuck you. All right. Here we go. That's the destination right there, Bally's. It's where all the magic happens. Hopefully a new place will bring some new luck. I'm not going to be able to put music in the background of these things because it's just too long, so I'll just make my own music. Anyway, that's where we're going. do this. And by fucking do this, I mean try and remember where it is. As I was saying, let's fucking do this. Nobody's here.
Paul chips together.
I was there that day.
I assume you heard about the 3-5.
All right, poker vlogging, let's do this shit. So I asked everybody at the table, I said if anybody wants to talk about a hand on break on video to let me know. And nobody took it up this time, but you know, I'll keep trying throughout the series. I could have been more forward with people. I could be more forward with people and just say, hey, do you want to talk about a hand on video? But honestly, I'm not really comfortable doing that or putting people in that kind of spot. I kind of don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. So had a couple interesting hands, one in particular. So we're playing Big O, 5-card, pot limit, high-low, Omaha. I first to act open ace, king, queen, jack, 6 with the ace, king in one of the other cards of diamonds. Kind of a loose open, but it was early. Everybody was playing kind of tied. It'd be a lot better if the 6 was a wheel card, a 2, 3, 4, or 5. One guy calls. It comes king, queen, 5 with 1 diamond, 2 hearts. He checks. I bet 2,000 into, or no, sorry, 2 callers. I bet 2,000 into 2,100. He calls. The turn is a jack, offsuit jack, so I have top 3 pair and a straight draw. There's no low possible. He checks, I check. The river is a offsuit 5, so I have top 3 pair and he bets 4,000. And this is one of those things. Live poker is just so much different than online poker. So he takes his cards, his 5 cards, and he starts to like grab 2 of them like he's gonna throw it over. And so already one of the hands he's representing is 10-9. This for the straight. He's either representing ace 10 or 10-9. And 10-9, you know, we're playing with 5 cards, so it's possible, but 10s and 9s are the worst cards in this game because they're not great for high and they don't make a low. So it was already kind of suspect, but then once he starts doing that, you know, he's trying to look strong by saying like, oh, I'm ready to turn my hand over if you call. So I kind of went with it and I made the call, and he showed queen jack. So my king queen was good, took down that pot. There was one that I didn't play in Big O where it was I raised to 400 and a re-raised to 1,200, and I had ace 10 8 3 3 with the suited ace. And this is one of those things like a lot of people, you know, you might think like, oh, I got the nut suit, I can make the wheel. They might think it's like a good hand to play. I folded. You want to play hands where you have the cards really work together and you have a good chance to scoop, not where like things have to go right for you to get half. So like the low, yeah, I could make a decent low, but it's the second nut low, and when somebody raises and re-raises, it's likely they have an ace deuce somewhere in there. And then yeah, I have the nut flush draw, but you know, how often do you make a flush? And then even then the board pairs. So I just folded. The flop came jack, jack 3, so I would have flopped a boat. And something I really try and be conscious of is that, you know, you make the right play and you live with the results, you know. So even though it's kind of like, I had to kind of remind myself like it was the right play at the time, and then also it's Big O. Just because something happens on the flop doesn't mean that's how it's going to keep going. And so the turn was a 9 and the river was a 4, and there was heavy action, and I ended up having the 3rd best hand. Another guy, so if somebody has a random jack in there, it's just so likely the board's going to pair, and then my full house is going to be counterfeited. So somebody had jack 4 and rivered the 4, and then another guy had pocket 9s and turned a full house. So the only other hand was in limit. There was a raise and a re-raise, and I put in the first limit 3. I re-raised the 1,200 with ace, king, king, deuce. With the ace. The ace was suited. They both called. The turn, it was ace 9 7 rainbow. I'm the only one or I'm most likely to have aces, so I put in the bet. One guy called, one guy folded. The turn was a 5, an offsuit 5. He checks, I bet. The river was a queen. He checks. I don't have a low, so I check. I say ace king. He just mucks. And then, let's see, was there another one? I had Ace King Jack 3 in limit, or no, pot limit, sorry, Ace King Jack 3 in the 4-card pot limit version. And I raised, the guy called, came Jack 5-5. And he checks, even though I have top pair, backdoor nut flush draw, backdoor low draw, wheel draw, I don't want to get raised, because if he raises with a bluff, it's just hard to call and face heavy pressure, and he could very easily have a 5. So I check for pot control. The turn's a queen. He bets 1,000 into 1,800. It's an easy call. So often people are thinking like, oh, he has ace deuce and missed or whatever, so he's just going to fold so often. So even though it's an overcard, and it gave me a flush draw. So I mean, even without that, it's an easy call. But with that, it's a standard call. The river was a 10, so I made the straight. He checked. I bet 1,000, and he snap folded. So yeah, those are the hands. Sorry, it's a little messy. This is my first time really doing this, getting used to it. But hopefully this all works out. So started with 25,000. I got about 34,100, and gonna get back in there. All right, got some sexy lighting now. So second break. Bear with me. I'm not writing any of this stuff down because I don't want to be on my phone while I play. Nothing super major these couple hours. The biggest hand I got into, I raised with ace, 3, king, jack, the suited ace in a big O. A guy called, and then another guy re-raised to 2,200. He was short stacked. That type of hand, you don't really want to go multi-way. It's better heads up. So I just repotted it. The other guy folded. He got it in. It was like 8,900, and he had ace, deuce, 4, 5, 8. And I looked it up afterwards. It's, I'm a small favorite depending on the suits, like 53%. When you have 5 cards, just getting it in pre-flop is going to be close. He ended up turning a wheel, so lost a small pot there. Luckily, he was relatively short stacked. Even if I had ace, deuce, king, jack, it's still only like 57%-ish, depending on the suits. I was talking about the marginal spots earlier, like a lot of those, like ace, 5, 7, 8 under the gun without the ace being suited, just a fold. A lot of hands like that are just really close, just folding, where other people are probably playing, just might think, oh, it's high-low or whatever. So yeah, got about 20,400, which is a little below starting stack right now. The blinds for the pot limit games have been 200-300 for a few levels now. You really get to play in these things. The limit game has gone up very slow incrementally, so nowhere near having to make a move or anything like that. One double up and I'm in the best position I've been at the whole time. So, feel good, playing good. There was a hand in the big blind on Big O where I had 10, 9, 8, 7 deuce, and it limped me and I checked. And I bring this up just to give you an idea. The flop was king 8, 6 rainbow, so I flopped middle pair and a big wrap. And that's why you don't play these hands. Like, even if it was like the small blind, like I probably just I might have called one more 100, but even then, it's any other position I wouldn't have played. That's one of the best flops you can get, and still, a lot of the time you're only going to get half the pot. And even if you hit your straight, it's like super vulnerable. So it's like one of the best flops I could have gotten. I still just check folded. I checked. The turn was a queen, and I checked and check folded. And now, even if I hit like my jack, it's not the nuts. So just to give you an idea of the 5-card Big O type thing. Yeah, not much else to say besides that. Just feeling good. I was gonna say this is something where I feel like the fasting has really helped me. Like, I don't have to worry about like getting food on a break or anything like that. Like, this is just par for the course for me. I'm just good to go, focused, happy, all that good stuff. Happy to be here. Gonna go in there and try and get my 53% to hold up. All right, next break. Late registration is now closed. Managed to be in this one for only 1,500. So I'm trying to sell it. I'm playing some interesting hands with these guys, and I'm saying if you want to talk, find out what I had. We've come do an interview on video, but nobody's going for it, and that's okay. Don't want to pressure anybody. Maybe sometime in the World Series we'll get somebody who isn't super shy or whatever. So I've made my first real, what I consider, mistake. It's borderline, but I got a little greedy. I raised in the limit, Omaha high-low. I raised ace, king, jack with a ace high suit. Late position, early position, I'd still probably raise it, but I mean, not going for a low in this game is pretty bad. Big blind gave like a, I guess I have to call, kind of trying to signify his hand was weak, which in the big blind it's going to be a lot of the time if you're, anyway. Queen Jack 7 on the flop. He checked dark and I bet dark. I was pretty much going to bet no matter what, but just trying to mix it up a little bit. He called. Turn was an offsuit 10, so I turned the nuts. He checks. I bet. I said something. Damn it! What did I say? I was getting the speech play. He was. I said. The river was a 10, and he checked, and I said, this might be a little thin, but I'm gonna bet. And he said, this might be a little thin, but I raised. I should have just checked behind. I don't know what I'm trying to get him to make a loose call with like a queen or like king, queen, jack or something, but I paid it off. He had jack 10. I should have just checked behind. I got a little greedy there. Luckily, it was limit. Last hand before break, it limped around a bunch. I had like king, king, queen, jack 7 in big O, pot limit big O, and a bunch of limpers. I checked the big blind. The guy to my left was saying like, "Oh, here comes the squeeze play" or whatever. And what's up? You get? Thought you were trying to get on there for a second. And I was like, "See, I wasn't lying. I'm doing it for real." Oh, you just wanted to hear what I had that hand. That's why you're listening. Yeah, we have. Yeah, all of our hands have been in like limit. It hasn't been super exciting. Yeah. 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 We haven't had anything super exciting to talk about. I was just talking about the last hand before break. At
I will. All right, I'll talk about a hand, but not player.
Get in here. So, all right. So, here's a guy at my table. So, what's your name and where are you from?
Jeff Dame. I'm from Gilroy, California.
Nice. I'm from California too.
Yeah.
Nice. Welcome.
And
so, what's the hand you got for us?
it's more of the player. We have a new player at the table, and he's chip leader. And
The French guy. Oui.
And he plays power poker, pure power poker.
Yeah.
He's killed me twice, just pushing me out of pots when I know he's only one-sided. But
In that big O, he snap repotted it with like the ace king 10-8-5 or whatever. He was just like, get it in there. This guy's a big stack at our table, and he's French. He's just like smoking a cigarette, just like oui. It's like
it's the playing style. The other guy was very aggressive too.
but not good aggressive. He was a little more reckless.
A little more reckless.
He that guy you're talking about, he made a call with like a 5 deuce low and like nothing else, and got me to fold my 4-3 low versus like a pot bet to the guy on my left. Yeah, he was crazy.
He was very strong on aggression betting, but he called terribly. I thought.
Yeah, and
more than once.
He's gone. Surprise. He's not going to be watching this, so we can talk shit.
But I do know the French guy at our table is a bully.
You're a bully, French guy. If you ever become famous and you watch this, he's got glasses. I feel like I've seen him before, but I don't recognize him. But
he looks like young, rich European. That's what he looks like.
Well, right on, and thanks for being the first one for getting on here.
All right.
Yeah, appreciate you. California. All right, we did it. Got somebody. Hopefully that was a little more interesting than just me talking. The French guy just walked by. Anyway, so I have king, queen, jack 7, and I check, and it comes king 9 with 2 clubs. So I flop full house. Guy to my right just leads out for 1300. I call. This other chip leader, not the French guy, calls, turns a third club. It's like the 5 of clubs. Check. I thought about putting in a small bet there. It just didn't make sense with a flush. Just didn't make a lot of sense to bet. I checked. The other guy checked. The river was the 7 of clubs, so the 8-6 of clubs makes the straight flush. The guy leads out for 3,000. I didn't say pot, but I made it 15,700, which was pot. The other guy folded. The other guy, I'm pretty sure, when the other guy calls, I'm pretty sure they both have a 9. So I'm not worried about quads. If he just stumbled into some random straight flush, it just kind of sucks to be you. Got to go for it. But he tanked for a long time, and he tank folded after a while. So I was trying to get the maximum from a full house from like 9-7 or something, and then also if I'm bluffing, it can going big is the best size. Yeah. Other than that, I had a good run in limit for a little bit. Won some pots. I raised ace, deuce, queen, jack, double suited, and got it in against the guy to my left, and we both flopped an ace. I ended up making a low, and he made 2 pair. He had AK 4-7, and I'm a pretty smallish, decent favorite versus that. But we're still going. We're back above starting stack a bit. I got somewhere around 30-ish thousand. I was trying to count my chips. Then it was like, "You gotta go, son." Anyway, back to it. Whew, all right, we got a lot to talk about, and I got 9 minutes before I gotta get back. So, Big O, ace, deuce, 7, 5, jack. Late position, I decided to limp. The ace was suited. You might think like, oh, you have the nut low. You got a good nut flush draw. Why not raise it? It's too good to raise, and it's how do I say this? It's too good to want to get. It's not good enough to want to get re-raised. You want to play it. It's not like a premium hand. Like, yeah, you're drawing to the nuts on both ends, but you don't want to be playing a huge pot. Like the hands you're going to be playing against are that when you play a big pot are going to be like ace, ace, deuce type hands, and have you pretty crushed. King 8-4, I believe. Flopped the nut low draw. Turn was the low card. I bet. Guy called. The river, I bet 6,500. It was there were 3 hearts out there. I was betting my ace deuce low. Sorry, I'm doing all this by memory, and there's so much to remember. And the guy called, and I turned over my hand, and I had the nut low. So I was trying to get him to fold the high hand, but I had a flush, and I just spaced on it. So I ended up scooping. Big pot against that French guy that we talk shit. Shout out to you if you ever end up watching this someday. He was playing super aggressive, as the guy said, the whole time, and he raised. There was a call, ended up re-raising in Big O with ace, ace, jack 3, ace, ace, jack, jack 3 with a suited ace, and he called. The flop was jack 6-5, so I flopped top set. There's 2 spades out there, and the second nut low draw, and I bet 20,000, which was the pot. And he thinks about it for a while. I'm hoping he has some kind of 2 pair, and he wants to end up with a low, and he wants to gamble against aces, because most of the time, as I do have in this hand, it's going to be aces and then wheel cards or something, or a wheel card. But I had the top set in this case. He ended up deciding to gamble for huge pot, went all in, called, and he had a ace deuce 4. So the nut low draw. The turn was a 6, so I was free rolling. Won the high, and the river was a queen, so got a big double up versus him, and he was out a few hands later. And then right now, just before break, against that same guy, the short stack earlier, I got it in against him again. I had ace, ace, 9, 3 rainbow, and he had ace, deuce, king 8. Came king 9, 7. Turn was an 8, so he turned 2 pair, and then he rivered the nut low. But he was, again, relatively short stacked, so it's still good. I got 57,500. Which is, more than double starting stack. I was above 70 at one point, but you can't, you can't get upset about minor setbacks when, overall things are going really well. So we got 3 more levels tonight, 2 more hours, and then if I make it that far, it'll be day 2 tomorrow. Made it over $1 million for the prize pool. First place is 195,000. Was that it? More hand that I gotta get in there real quick. There's 1 minute left to break. Same guy, same situation. Flop was queen jack 8, and it ran out 10-10 again. He was the raiser, and I just called out of the big blind. I had ace, king, something. I check called 2 streets, turned the straight, but there were 3 hearts on the board. And the river was the 10, and I'm mad at myself. I should have potted. There's just so few hands that he can bet twice on that board and then bet a third time. Like, he'd have to literally have like a set and the nut flush. So I had an opportunity to take it, and I lost to a small flush and low cards. Yeah, I should have just potted the river, but it's all right. I'll live. So we got, who's name and where you're
Matt,
from?
Cleveland, Ohio.
Matt from Cleveland, Ohio. All right, big year for Cleveland sports. All right, you guys just got just traded Baker.
Yeah. I think
All right, so the hand in question. So we battling again. I open, you defend the big blind, right?
4-card high-low.
Yeah.
Pot limit.
4-card high-low was
Pot
8-3 deuce with 2 diamonds. You check, right?
Check,
8-3
bet,
deuce.
call.
Check, bet, call.
Turn.
Was the 9 of diamonds.
Check.
So there's
pot.
3 diamonds, and I pot for
And
18-5.
tank, fold, ace 4. No diamonds, no chance to win.
Not
the
low.
high.
So this
Not-
guy
not
thinks I'm going to
low.
be honest with him right now. He thinks I'm going to tell him what I had. This was my gimmick for getting people to come on here and do this. I had ace 5, 10, 8 with ace 10 of diamonds. So I had second nut low, gut shot, top pair, and nut flush.
And if you had ace 5, so if an ace or if
So
a 4
if
comes,
a 4 comes, I have the nut
I'm
nut.
out.
Yeah.
If an ace comes,
And you had no like 2 pair or anything, so I was basically free rolling, right?
No. I had ace 4, 6. So if an ace comes, I make a 6 nut. I don't know what you make if I get counterfeited. 6 nut might still have been good for the low.
Yeah, the only way I win is if a 4 comes, I
4
guess.
comes.
So
But considering I would have to put my whole stack in on the turn and river.
right, exactly.
I can't win the high. I just chose for better spot.
Right, exactly.
And
That's exactly what I was
I got
trying.
it on the
right.
last hand.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
get up to $95.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thanks, brother. Thanks for coming on. It was really good playing with you all
I'll see
day.
you,
Yeah,
what's
see you
your
next
name?
time. Aaron. Yeah, Omaha Poker if you want to see all the hands when they come up. Yeah, right on. All right. I am going the wrong way. So yeah, just a lot of these marginal spots under the gun I was talking about, like ace, jack, 10, 5 with the ace not being suited. Just a fold for me in these tournaments. It's just you really don't want to be like hoping things go well in order to get. He said the white section. That's in there. Yes, it was like across the other way. Yeah. 2 p.m. You don't want to be like hoping things go well to get half. Yeah, really happy with how I played for the most part. I got about 11 hours. I've stuck with the fasting for those who are following for that. So I'm gonna go find something to eat, and then I got about 11 hours to get home, eat, get to sleep, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna go do that. On to tomorrow. Thought of one more hand against the guy who I doubled up twice when I had the aces, and he had ace 3 and he had the ace deuce. So it was limit, and he raised to 5,000, and I have ace deuce 3 8 double suited, which is, and that gave him a pretty premium hand. No flush draw, all the good low draws and all that stuff. I decided to just call because a lot of people I think 3-bet because it's such a good hand or whatever. But with that kind of hand, you really want. I think it's better to try and win like half of like a big 3-way pot. Like I want the big blind to come along with like crappy hands. Like, and those times I really want to win a half of a bigger pot. So the big blind does come along. Comes 9, 9, 6. So I have 2 backdoor flush draws and a backdoor nut low draw, but not much else. Checks to the razor. He bets 2,500. We both call. The turn is the 5 of hearts, so it's like the greatest card ever. Gives me the nut flush draw. Gives me the French guy just walked by. I gave him a nod. He did not nod back. So it gives me the nut flush draw and then the nut low draw too, but they can't be counterfeited. Checks to me, I bet 5,000. They both call. The river's the 10 of hearts, so I have the ace high flush. Board is paired, but again, like I was saying earlier, with the 10s and 9s, like those aren't usually hands people are raising. It has to be something very specific, like ace deuce 10 9 or something. They check to me at that 5,000. The big blind folds. The guy who had doubled up through me twice, tanks for a while, and ends up calling, and the flush is good. So got a little revenge there, and yeah, that was a fun one. But that's a good concept, you know. A lot of people I think are re-raising. If it was like there were a bunch of limpers or there were a bunch of like a raise and a bunch of callers, then maybe I would re-raise to try and get that pat more. But with a hand like ace deuce 3-8, I'm really not trying to isolate. You're really not trying to go heads up. That's more like, that's a big concept in these high-low games, is what hands you want to isolate with and what hands you want to go multi-way with. A hand like the ace 3 or whatever, you know, those are the kind of hands you really want to be like heads up with. You don't want to be playing like 3, 4, 5-handed pot with a hand like that. But then like a ace deuce, you know, blah blah, jack 7, you know, like that, you want to be like winning a much bigger half of a pot versus a lot of weaker hands that you let in there because of the odds. And then also every once in a while you scoop with a hand like that, so it's dope. Yeah, all right. It's fucking hard to do all this shit from memory, man. So many cards, so many hands. I'm gonna go eat. Yo, all right. Got another nice, brisk, cool day in Vegas. It's a nice little 109 degrees. Dry heat. Lips and feet are dry and cracked as fuck, but you know, we're doing it. So it's day 2. Really not much changes. It's the emotional control part, and like not getting too up or too down, too high or too low is I was thinking about it today. I think a lot of it just comes from like football and like the sports background, you know, like in the locker room, you know, you're getting ready for a game. Like if you're not fired up, like if you're not ready, if you don't have that like belief you're gonna win, go out there and dominate, you know, it's like there's something wrong with you, you know. It's like, or in people's eyes, it's like, how are you not fired up, you know? Like it's the big day, the big game. So like to go from that to like, you know, just trying to be even keel, be cool, not get too emotional, you know. It's like it's a different thing. Like of course I believe I can win, of course I like want to win like really bad, but that's just what poker teaches you, and it doesn't matter, you know, how bad you want it, you know. Like there's outside things you can't control. Like you just have to focus on doing the best you can and living with the results. So I mean, like I'm going into this, you know, like I feel like I played really well yesterday, you know, only a couple things that I wish I could do differently, and even then like I had reasons for why I did it. So just gonna go in there and do my best. Day 2s are a whole lot different in terms of like quality of competition, you know. Like day 1s, you know, you get a lot of, you know, retired, you know, or older guys who just play for fun and are just on vacation for the summer, you know, and just want to splash around and have a good time. And then in this, you know, you get a lot of people who've been like studying the game, you know, a lot of just a noticeable difference. I looked at my table draw. There's like maybe a name or two I recognize. Nobody like super famous or anything. Yeah, really just same old thing. Just gonna go in there and give it all I got. So see you at the first break, hopefully, if I make it that far. All right, day 2. When I start behind me, let's just get into it. So almost got eliminated on the first hand in Big O. It's like second, or it was like the fourth hand I think of overall. I had ace 8 4 3, ace 8 3 4 jack, and it came with the ace of spades, and it came ace king 8 with 2 spades. So I had top and bottom pair and a not amazing like third and a low draw I think. And there was a bet I called because I had the ace of spades, which really matters. It was ace king 8 with 2 spades, and this bet I called 8,000. This other guy made it 40,000, and it's a fold. Like I was gonna fold if the other guy folded, but with the ace of spades, it's close. Being able to, it's not as much maneuverability as in a regular pot limit high, but still some. Luckily, the other guy goes all in, and that takes it from most likely going to fold to obvious fold. And the guy had a set of kings in the nut low draw, and they both had the nut low draw. And the guy turned quads and no low came. So if I would have had a second spade in my hand, then it becomes really dicey. 2 pair, decent low draw, and the nut flush draw. I honestly, I'm sitting here, I don't know what I would have done. Like versus a bet and an all in, even then, fuck, you know. But luckily, I didn't have to make that decision. That's a tough spot if I have the second spade. The hand I gotta talk about is this guy opened in Big O. I defended the big blind. I tried to get him on here. He really should come on here and like know this hand, but you know he didn't want to, and that's cool. I defended in Big O from the big blind with a ace, jack, 10, 9, 5 with 2 diamonds and 2 hearts. The 10, 9 diamonds. It came king, 10, deuce with a diamond. So a queen gives me the nuts, and I got a backdoor wheel draw. I check, he bets 7,000. I call, the turn's a 4 of diamonds. So I have a bad flush draw, a wheel draw, and a nut flush and a nut gutter draw. Obviously, unless it's the queen of diamonds. I check, he bets 13,000. I call. The river is an offsuit king, so there's 2 kings on board, and I pull a trick from the old Hold'em book, and I block bet 14,500 and go into my trans, you know, just staring at one spot and not doing what I do all the time. He thinks for a long time, is, you know, bemoaning, you know, like takes his, this guy at my table's blanking, what a savage. I need to step my game up. And he thinks for a while and says, man, if you don't got it, that's a great bet or whatever. And I told him, you know what you got to do. Okay, come on, and I'll let you know what I had. And he said, just let the vlog know that that was a well played hand. So, yay. One other thing I wanted to say on here, I'm trying to get everybody to call pot limit Omaha 8 or better plate, like dinner plate, you know, like PL 8. One guy at my table gets it. The guy who hit that quads to my left, he said, like, well, it's definitely shorter than pot limit Omaha high-low 8 or better. It's like, he gets it, exactly. So I got about 175,000, started the day with 132. And yeah, gonna get back in there. One other thing I just have to say, like while I'm playing, I just thought of this. There was a line for, it was either late register or something, I think, for the main event of the World Series of Poker. And there was this guy who was almost as big as me waiting in line. The dude was straight sitting on his knees. Like he's like on his knees, like leaning back, like sitting on there. Like to me, to a guy who's been big his whole life, like that is like one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Like my ligaments snapped just looking at that. So that was, I can't even imagine. Found some more wonderful art to get under. So, Bearded Dragon, what's up, brother? How you doing? Good. All right, so got a little good news, bad news situation. We made the money, so buy-in's 1,500, guaranteed like 2,400 or something like that. Basically, didn't lose, not lost more than we won. But down to 64,000 in chips. I took a couple brutal quarters. Had ace 5 4 3 double suited. Came ace 10 deuce all diamonds, and then the turn was a 3, so I had 2 pair and the nut low, and ran into the nut low and a flush, and didn't improve on the river. There was a crazy hand. They create like, so these 10 high and 10 9 boards I'm talking about, like that just normally doesn't factor in, but in Big O I raised ace 5 4 3 8 double suited. No, sorry, ace 3 4, yeah, ace 5 4 3 8 double suited. So the ace was suited. Got a call, came 10 3 3 rainbow, so I have trip threes with an ace kicker. I c-bet like a third pot, 9,000 or something. He just calls, turns a 4. Like in Big O, it's just not super, like I'm not worried about pocket 10s. Like there's just so few hands that he's gonna call an early position raise with, in early position with pocket 10s. Just not worried about it at all. So I decided to check. He bets exactly half pot, 23,000. This guy's a good player. It factors in, and we're both keeping track of the pot. I call with a boat and a low draw. I get the perfect card. I get the deuce on the river, the offsuit deuce. So I have the nut low and a full house. So there's no point in checking. I bet 92,000, which is the pot, and he snap calls, and I'm ecstatic, thinking I'm about to get the full scoop, like maybe 3/4 if he found a wheel or something. And he had ace, king, queen, 10-10. He had the boat. It's not a bad play. Like, those are the kind of hands in pot limit, Big O, that like you want to play. Like, when you hit high boards, you can win a big pot. I'm not like bemoaning his play. It's just amazing that I actually ran into the tens full there. It's just such a not a consideration at all. If he pots the flop, I'm a little worried about like a hand like ace 10-3 or something, but don't think I can get away from it. But just never was expecting to run into tens there. So yeah, just got to get in there and get a little rush. In this game, I'm a little short stack compared to the blinds, but it's not the end of the world. Just a couple double ups to get back in there. So never stop fighting, never give up, never surrender. All right, here we go. All right, trying to find a good spot to do this. There's people like spread out all over the place, so I'm out. Recap the last few hands, and then that'll be it until the next one. There's a 1,500 PLO bounty tomorrow. So one hand from earlier that I didn't talk about, we were talking about in limit, if you say pot, it's an automatic min raise. So from the button, I said pot, because the guy had mistakenly done it, thinking it was a pot limit game. So from the button, I did that, and I showed two aces, the only hand I showed. And then the very next hand is the interesting one I had. Ace, ace, deuce, king, double suited, which is, in the discussion for best hands in Omaha 8. I think ace, ace, deuce, 3, double suited is better, but it's pretty much as good as it gets. And so that was the very next hand. So I raised, big blind called, who had been not bad player or anything, but a action player, not afraid to splash around, had limped early and bet on a queen 10-9 flop or something. So just with that in mind, I had ace, ace, deuce, king, clubs, and diamonds. The flop came 10-9-7, which is the worst flop you can get for that hand, but there were 2 diamonds, so it was still playable. He checked, I bet. Turn was a 7, black 7, which isn't a great card, obviously. He can have a lot of 7s in his range, and even if I hit my flush, it's not the nuts, and there's no low. Checks, he checks, I check. The river was like an offsuit deuce, and he bets 12,000. And thought about it for a while. That hand had played into my head, the fact that this guy just splashes around a lot. He can have a lot of 7s, but he can have a lot of missed stuff too. It was really close. I ended up calling, and he said he had nothing, so I took that down. So I was battling short stack for a while, and so I got into a nice multi-way pot where I just flat called with ace, deuce, 4, didn't matter, ace, deuce, 6 something, and the flop came ace, deuce, or ace, ace, deuce, so I flopped the nut high. Got it in against ace 3, 4 something, and he ended up making a low. So he didn't knock me out though, so that was always good. But I chopped that one, and then I got 3/4. I had ace, deuce, 4, 6, 9, I believe, and there was I think it was jack, 6, deuce. So I had second nut low draw and bottom 2 pair, and somebody raised to 12,000, and even though I was short stacked, and this is what I've been talking about, I only flat called, and it got 3 other people in. Instead of going all in, you don't really want to isolate with that kind of hand. You want to win half of a bigger pot. So then I pushed for 31,000 or whatever, and 29 actually, and 3 people folded. The last guy made a crying call, and I 3/4'd him, so I was back up to 90K, and then it's kind of fitting. My last hand, I've been talking all about the strategy of limping in and getting the blinds all these past couple days, and getting the blinds in there with weaker hands. So there's a 6-way limped pot to me, and I'm in the big blind in Big O with jack, 10, 7, 7, some low card or something. It didn't matter, like a never would have played the hand. Even in the small blind, I probably would have just folded it. Maybe call for 2K more, but I mean, even that's like, and the reason why I get the king queen 7 flop. So I have an open-ended straight draw to the nuts. I have bottom set, and there's a huge pot out there. If I was deeper stacked, I just would have checked, played pot control, but I started the hand with like 90,000, so winning 35,000 so big for me. I potted, some guy had pocket queens, and I didn't improve, and that's that. Cash for somewhere around 3,000. I haven't gone to the payout window yet. I wanted to get this out there, but yeah, I will be back in a different hoodie tomorrow for the 1,500 bounty. Thanks for following along, future people. Later. Oh, and shout out to Heather. If you ever need a joke explained, let me know. I got you.